Hello, Minnesota Timberwolves fans. Welcome into Talkin T-Wolves. We will be discussing playoff Game 5, where the Timberwolves lost to the Memphis Grizzlies in a really hard-fought battle by both teams. Here to join me is my friend Kevin Stanky. I am your host, Garrett Gilbertson. Kevin, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. It was a tough game to watch. I mean, it was a fun game to watch for most of it because the Timberwolves were ahead. Tough way to end the game, but at this point, we have a Minnesota Timberwolves team ranked 7th in the West. They were planning, all the experts, at least on ESPN, were saying, Grizzlies in 5, Grizzlies in 6. Absolutely nobody picked the Timberwolves to go 7. So at this point, we are either matching expectations or defying them, depending on who you ask. And take a look at the 2-7 matchup out east. A lot of experts were picking the New Jersey Nets or Brooklyn to be winning that matchup, and we saw them get swept. Some of the best players in the league on that team. So hey, from here on out, every W is a stretch goal win. And I'm feeling good about team's momentum heading into the next game.
Yeah, after Game 5, I have to say the Wolves played a hard-fought matchup that was just an all-around fun game to watch the entire game. I mean, Carl came out from the gate and he kept driving to the basket with energy and purpose, right? And the first quarter was a little scary there at the beginning. The first 4 minutes, we found ourselves in a hole very quickly, didn't we? But they kept focused, and that was a good thing. I thought Carl played an amazing Game 5, and I really think it was a tough loss to lose that way right at the end after a hard-fought battle. But we did the most typical Minnesota Timberwolves thing, is we won our first and third quarters and lost the second and fourth. And we were outscored big time in the fourth quarter, and that's really what determined it, right? The T-Wolves can't close the game out.
Yeah, it's really hard to pinpoint a certain moment where the momentum shift. Maybe it was right at the end of the third quarter. Even though the Timberwolves dominated that quarter, we saw Ja Morant with a nasty dunk right as they were headed to the break there. And if it wasn't for that, the Grizzlies would have had absolutely no momentum going into that fourth quarter. Instead, they got to ride that amazing play. You got that up on the marquee here, I see. Is this that?
Oh yeah, the Morant dunk, dude. It was a monster dunk. And shortly after this, it was when Beverly kind of started calling him small again. After he did this dunk, it's like, man, that's a huge dunk.
But what was nice to see from Beasley after that dunk, seeing him hustle back and almost getting to those 2 points back. So even though he didn't convert on those, he did show us that he wasn't going to let himself be humbled by that.
Yeah, he did do pretty good on that. After Morant made that huge dunk, Cat gave him a 3-pointer and kind of shushed the crowd. Do you remember that? It was pretty crazy.
You knew that was a cringe moment the second it happened. You knew, like, oh, this is a jinx that we are inviting into the home.
Oh,
might as well.
This is the play right before it, but Torian pulled a nice little fadeaway there, and then on the next possession we got a good block by Vando, and Cat brought it down.
We saw a lot of great blocks in that fourth quarter.
Yeah.
One thing I saw
what we don't see is Cat shushed the crowd right there. When he did that, I really think that could have been the turning point for Morant and the crowd to kind of say, no, you don't get to shush us in our building. There's a lot of time left on the clock, and there was. I think that might have been your turning point, if you were honest.
Yeah, and it was way too early in the game to be shushing the crowd. As a leader, as a person who wants that attention, I understand why he felt like he had to do it. But would have liked to have seen a little humility at that point, at least until you got to 2 minutes. At least you got to 30 seconds. Come on.
Cat played such a hard entire game, but in that fourth quarter, he was forcing the issue again, right? And he was trying to prove to everybody that he can close the game out, but he didn't close the game out. And that's the thing, is like, you got too cocky too early. I would have liked to have seen it, because Morant made the three to take the lead in that fourth quarter, and they never looked back, right?
Yeah. And to me, I think another failing, and I wouldn't call it a failing, but just like a something to adjust for the next game is Pat Beverly trying offensively to do too much. He is, of the five players that are on the court most of the time, the one guy you want to be passing the ball and not to be forcing the ball at the rim. And that was, to me, some of the face palm moments in the fourth quarter for me, where I would have liked to have seen him show a little constraint and maybe pat the ref's ass one less time.
Yeah. I felt like he wasn't super. I mean, he drove to the basket a lot, but many times he was driving to the lane and then dishing out for an open shot, and we weren't making them. Beasley, again, didn't have a good game. And D'Lo really didn't shoot the ball all that great either. But Beverly wasn't doing his normal floater game, or he got a couple layups, but he only finished with 9 points on the night. I mean, offensively, we needed more out of some of our role players, or our key starters, even to that point. I mean, we only had Anthony Edwards had 22 points in the game, and Carl had 28, and Russell had 12. So it's tough to win a tight game when you don't get that scoring from the other places on the team.
Yeah, looking at their free throws, though, they did a great job at the line, hitting 21 and 24. So I'd like to see more attempts. It looks like the Grizzlies had 39 attempts in this game to the Timberwolves 24. And, just a lot of decision-making by the referees where you just wonder, you see John Morant barrel himself into anybody that he gets the chance to, and that's reckless. You gotta wear a helmet around that guy.
Dude, he is the most athletic player I've seen in a long time. Like, the way he can just spring up to the basket without with a hesitation dribble, and then boom, he's dunking on you. Like, it's pretty amazing how athletic John Morant really is. He is a star, up and coming. But the Wolves did pretty good all game, keeping him in check, just not in the fourth quarter, really.
One really interesting thing I also saw in this game that I haven't seen too much in the NBA this season, or really at all, are some really nifty passes. They were like, I saw it from D'Angelo Russell, McLaughlin, and Morant, where they would do a bounce pass with a little bit of English behind a defender's back. And it was like, I mean, I think I've seen that in pickup, but I don't know I've ever seen that in NBA and 3 times in one game. That was there's some amazing passes. And John Morant, that guy, I mean, his teammates must get broken fingers, because sometimes that the ball just all of a sudden it ends up in a teammate's hand and they're like, I can't help but score it.
Yeah. Brandon Clark, he must have really strong hands, and he doesn't come away with sprained fingers and stuff like that. Because they're putting it right there. I mean, overall, I think Game 5, as hard as it is to lose such a pivotal game, the Wolves played and fought through a lot there, and just couldn't get to the finish line, which we've seen happen a number of times.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, are there any changes you think need to happen for Game 6 that Chris Finch needs to make, maybe to the starting lineup? Do you roll out the same 5? It looks like he's been given a lot of run to Taurean Prince, where we haven't seen Jalen Noll come off the bench yet this year, and so do you keep rolling with what's going on?
That's a great point, bringing up Jalen Noll. And, last game, what we saw is Anthony Edwards get in foul trouble. That's not a hallmark of his game. I actually saw Pat Beverly foul out. Almost forgot about that. So that might be another pivotal moment. But one thing we did see, I think, more than we did most of the series, is McLaughlin kind of forced into that role because of Edwards being in foul trouble most of the game. But him putting in a really impressive performance, only 2 points, but some crucial minutes in a time where the really most of the third quarter, which I mentioned, won that quarter, but we saw him in the fourth quarter as well. And let's hope. We're defying expectations with Jordan McLaughlin, no doubt. We've been doing that with him his whole career. I hope he keeps it up.
Yeah, he had a fantastic game 4 from behind the 3-point line, something that hasn't been there all year. And then in game 5, he still managed to play very well and hold our bench unit, our second unit, out on the floor and play extremely well in that third quarter, where he got some extended minutes. But in the fourth quarter, I was kind of yelling at the screen saying, why don't we get Jalen Noll and because he's the better shooter and scorer. And in a tight game like that, you need shooting and you need somebody who is a scorer. And McLaughlin isn't a scorer. He's a facilitator. He plays amazing defense, and maybe that's too much to give up putting Noel in, but I don't know. That would be a change I'd like to see, maybe at least when we need the scoring, and Beasley's not providing it. So
that's a really great point, especially if Beasley's not hitting, then that's the time to bring in Noel, because they're very similar players. They're offensive minded players, but that Memphis squad, it's not like they have transcended offensive players. Desmond Bane's become a revelation for me in this series. I know they had got some all-star buzz, and I was like, WTF, but now I see what that was all about. He's like a Scottie Pippen in my mind, and definitely a dude I do not want to mess with. And so mad respect to him. And I think that being more challenging on the offensive end is a good strategy with a player like Noel, because with the exception of Desmond Bane, and maybe that's why he's a shooting guard as well, you don't have to. That's the side of the floor you want to win on.
Yeah, I'd also like to see more run with Jaden McDaniels. I was pretty disappointed in Game 5 with him offensively. He didn't give us many points. 3 points he got in the whole game, but he is a difference maker on the defensive end, and he really did play well in that fourth quarter specifically. Had some really good defensive plays to keep us, when we weren't making our shots, at least keep us in the game. But I'd like to see his offensive game get back to what it was at the end of the season, when he was making 3-point shots and all of that. Like, he is the difference maker on the bench. And Beasley, I'm at a loss. Malik, you gotta start hitting your threes. What happened? We're to that dreaded cold streak again, and we need you to be hot right now. I would, if we had just one of our bench players score in the provide a scoring punch, double digits, we would have been in that game. We would have won. We didn't get that in Game 5. We got a lot of Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards, but we needed everybody else to kind of carry it and get excited. And that's the only thing that's going to bring success in Game 6, is if we have a big three in scoring. D'Lo's got to come to the game, or if it's not him, then it's got to be Beasley, or it's got to be Pat Bev and Jared McLaughlin, providing some more scoring punches.
Yeah, I think you got to put that on the coach a little bit, because you can recognize that Beasley's not, he's having a cold night. You can't expect him to be hot every night, and that's just something where it should be that opportunity for Noel, like you said. So let's hope those types of adjustments are made for the next game, because it could mean the W. And the one question that I've seen posed pretty often is what is the percentage of, we're going back to earlier in the series, what are the odds? What are the percentages that the Grizzlies could have come back in that particular game? But I think a better question moving forward on this date is that the odds of a team coming back 3-2 are higher than the odds of that particular scenario. So let's bring it. You can only take it one game at a time right now from the Minnesota Timberwolves. They got to win the next one. They cannot look forward to the one after that. It's the next game, and it's best of one in the next game. And then after that, we'll do best of one again.
Hey, they're a young team. They haven't been in the playoffs only one other time with Butler, and this is all learning experiences for many of these guys, right? And it is a game at a time from here on out until this series is over. And I hope, Game 6, I think that the Wolves fans at Target Center are going to be out of their minds. It's going to be a fun game. I'm really hoping Carl is energized and smart and is ready to put in a highlight performance of his career, because that's what it's going to take. Anthony Edwards is too. I do want to say, they say he said he made a mistake in the last play of the game going for a steal when as they hit their last basket to kind of put them ahead. And Anthony said, he made a mistake. He shouldn't have gone for the steal. Chris Finch also said, he went for the steal, and that's not really the best scenario to do, but he didn't scold him for it. Edwards was trying to make a play, but I think that's going to be a big motivating factor for him in Game 6. Like, I could see Anthony Edwards coming out and saying, I'm, ready to prove myself. I made a mistake, but he's better than that, and I really do believe he is. So, Game 6 could be a really fun game. I'm really looking forward to watching it, and then go from there. Game 7, hopefully, fingers crossed. Let's go Wolves, right?
Let's go Wolves, baby.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Kevin. That was fun. It was a great game. I look forward to the next game, and we'll talk soon. A follow up after that. Nice Wolves mask. Stay safe, buddy. Minnesota Timberwolves, everybody. Thanks for watching. Please, everybody, enjoy. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.